Okay, so this is video 2 regarding active reading and open response writing. And in this video, we are going to put to use some of the skills that we just learned. Remember, there are 4 steps in total to active reading. The first one is to read the question, prompt, or directions. The second is to circle key direction verbs, such as discuss, contrast, or explain. You're going to underline all important information that would be relevant in answering the question. Next, you're going to, in your own words, rewrite the question, prompt, or directions so that you know what you are being asked to do. It will give you a focus. Develop your plan to answer the questions, prompt, or directions using the template provided. So the prompt from your article, Alternative Therapies for Fertility, states, there are many alternatives for women who have infertility problems. This article discusses several options. Explain 3 pathways that are healthy options to increase fertility. Support your choices with information from the article. So let's circle the verbs. Explain, support, and let's underline important details. So, 3 pathways, healthy options to increase fertility. Information, okay, I think that's good. So those are things that you should, so explain and support are your verbs, pathways, or 3 pathways, healthy options, increasing fertility, information. So now we have to rewrite our prompt so that we know what we're doing. So for example, 3 healthy options for increasing fertility are blank, blank, and blank. Because we don't know what they are yet. We haven't read the article. Now it's time to read the text. I will read the first part of the article with you to show you how to actively read by underlining, taking notes in the margin, and finding ideas that are connected to the purpose of our reading. So the article is Alternative Therapies for Fertility. Infertility, defined as the inability to conceive after a year or more of trying. This affects about 10% of couples, 6.1% of women between the ages of 15 to 44, according to the Centers for Disease Control. Interestingly, infertility's been fodder for television conversation in episodes of Downton Abbey and Recreation and New Girl recently. But the media's attention to the travails of celebrities trying to conceive have you thinking that IVF and surrogates are the only means available for couples having difficulty conceiving. IVF is in vitro fertilization, by the way. And a surrogate is someone else, like they implant the egg and the sperm in another mother, and it grows inside of her, and then when the baby's born, she gives it back to the parents. So I might circle like these words just because I don't know what they mean, and I don't know if they'd be important in answering the question. So those are things that I might want to look up. So I might want to do this, look up over here, meaning I don't know what those words mean. You should be writing this on your article. Yet there are many ways couples can boost their fertility naturally. So boost is another word for increase. So we're going to increase fertility, which has to do with our question, by doing what? Including acupuncture, Chinese medicine, supplements, fertility yoga, and there's others. Most couples like to explore some of these options before venturing into more expensive and invasive treatments. Here we look at a few of the top natural fertility boosters. So we're going to look at top natural fertility boosters. That might be important as well. So now we can go back to our question. At least we know we have 3 different ones that we can choose here. So now what I would like you to do is pause the video, and you are going to quietly read to yourself the rest of this article, making notes in the margin of important things. So maybe you want to list the 3 that you're going to do in the margin, okay? Your 3 choices to keep you focused. But you're going to read the rest of the article quietly to yourself, underlining important information and making notes in the margin of things that you want to be sure to include. When you're done reading, then we can continue the video. At this time, you should now be done with the reading. You've had an opportunity to actively read and take notes, and it is time for us to develop our plan for an answer. So let's see what we've done already. How does this connect to our writing? Let's take a look at this open response writing steps to see where we are at this point. We have already completed numbers 1, 2, and 3, having actively read the question, understanding what the question is asking, and actively reading the passage, as we have just annotated and underlined our document. So now our next step is to map out our answer. You can find the graphic organizer in the back of your packet. We are going to map out our answer, then you're going to write your response carefully using your map as a guide. You're going to strategically repeat key words from the thesis in your body and in your ending sentences. You're going to paragraph your response and reread and edit your response. So you have your graphic organizer. The first thing that we want to do is make a claim statement. The claim statement is the same as a thesis statement. So we're going to put our flipped question and fill in the blanks. Three healthy options for increasing fertility are, I'm going to put 1 just to show you as a guide, acupuncture, and then you're going to pick whatever other 2 that you wanted to do, because there were other options, and I don't want to hold anyone down to doing specific ones. Okay, so body paragraph number 1. So in our first paragraph, we're going to talk about acupuncture. So we need to have a transition. the first example of a healthy option to increase fertility is acupuncture. And we know the source that we're getting it from because it's this article. Next, what you want to do is you want to find specific details from the article. So this is where you're going to go back and you're going to get information from the article and jot it down here. I'm not going to do that for you. I want you to do it. Finally, you need to conclude the paragraph by connecting the example to the thesis. So an example might be, this example shows that acupuncture is a healthy option to increasing fertility because. And then you're going to tell me why. So you're going to put information. I'm just going to put info from document because you're going to go back and you're going to do that. And then, as I said, your concluding statement might say, this example shows acupuncture is a healthy option for increasing fertility because ... And you're going to put your information from your article that you got right here down there. And then you're going to do the same thing for the other two options that you chose. And then you will have your template for your essay. Now, before you continue to fill out your template, you need to watch the rest of the video first. So once you're done filling out your template, you will have completed steps 1 through 4. You will now have to do 5, 6, and 7. Some ideas for writing out your response include so to help write a strong and fully developed 5-paragraph essay, you may want to use this template as a guide. And this will also be posted in Schoology. You need to write a claim or thesis statement. So that's using the keywords from the question. You need to write a transition, which I just showed you how to do in the template, using keywords from the claim to introduce your first example. Then you need to provide some detailed evidence from the document to the reader about the example. Follow with an explanation that uses keywords from the claim to connect to the example. You're going to do the same for your other 2 pieces of evidence. You're going to write a transition again using keywords from the claim, introducing your second example, providing detailed evidence from the document, and then follow with an explanation that uses keywords from the claim and connects to the example. And then you're going to do that for your third example, your third evidence, or your choice of what increases fertility. And then you're going to write a concluding statement that repeats the claim and the keywords that you did in the opening paragraph. Lastly, you need to look over the rubric. The rubric tells you how you will be scored. It also shows the criteria upon which you will be assessed. This essay and all the work that you do that assists in the writing response is going to be collected. So this needs to be handwritten. So you can write this somewhere. Handwritten. So you're on loose leaf. And write on every other line. So this way I have room to make comments when I'm grading. So you're going to hand in the whole packet that I just gave you, the article, because you're going to have all your evidence on there where you underlined and wrote notes on the margin, your question restated, your essay template, and your essay written on loose leaf, every other line, and your rubric. So let's take a look at the rubric. So this is a 14-point rubric, and there's several points for content. Content is weighted more heavily than form. So 8 points for content. The response contains a clear claim and insightfully answers all parts of the question. Response provides relevant and specific textual evidence. Explanations of evidence are clear and accurate and demonstrate superior understanding of the material. A 6-point content response contains a clear claim and adequately answers all parts of the question. Responses provide relevant but general textual evidence. Explanations of evidence are mostly clear and accurate and demonstrate good understanding of the material. So look at the difference between an 8-point response and a 6-point response. The words insightfully versus adequately, specific versus general, clear versus mostly clear, and superior versus good. Let's take a look at other point values. A 4-point response contains a claim but only partially answers the question. The responses provide a mix of accurate as well as inaccurate textual evidence. Explanations of evidence are vague and/or demonstrate limited understanding. And a 2-point response contains a claim but only minimally answers the question. Response provides insufficient and largely, for the most part, inaccurate textual information. The explanations of evidence are unclear and/or demonstrate minimal understanding. Now let's look at form. Response contains sophisticated and effective use of transitions and strategic repetition, indicating complete control of the material. Response is logically and effectively organized in its claim, paragraphing, and sequencing of examples. The response contains clear sentence structure with few or no errors. A 3-point response contains adequate but simplistic use of transitions. Response is organized in its claim, paragraphing, and sequencing. Response contains clear sentence structure with no distracting errors. So there's a couple of errors, but they're not really big errors. A 2-point response contains some inappropriate use of transitions and strategic repetition. Response demonstrates lapses in the organization of the claim, paragraphing, and/or sequencing, and the response contains lapses in sentence structure that interfere with the clarity of thought. So your mistakes are so gross that I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. And a 1-point response contains inaccurate or inadequate use of transitions and strategic repetition. Response reflects minimal organization of its claim, paragraphing, and/or sequencing, and the response contains major errors in sentence structure. And then you can get 1 or 0 points for length and 1 or 0 points for legibility. Can I read it? Have you written on every other line? And how you will be scored: 13 to 14 is considered advanced, 11 to 12 points proficient, 8 to 10 needs improvement, and 0 to 7 failing. Before you turn in your work, make sure that you check to make sure that you have your name on every sheet of paper you're handing in, that you've showed evidence of active reading on your document by underlining and writing notes in the margin of the article, completed all parts of the graphic organizer, have written a well-constructed 5-paragraph essay that includes 3 pieces of evidence to support your claim. Make sure you've proofread it to make certain that it makes sense and can be easily read. And then when you're all done, you can say, yeah, I did a good job, because I know that you all will. All right, that's it.